Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another recap video for round 11 of the Supercross series. Now, if you guys haven't watched my last recap video, this series used to be formerly known as ESMX, hosted by Killmonger, but due to unfortunate circumstances in real life, he's not able to host the series anymore. So now everything's under MXL Racing, which is hosted by Hit with the Rico, Tommy, and TinMan's son. So they got everything transferred, points are all updated. They got a Discord going, so if you guys want to join and try these tournaments out, I will leave a link in the description below, and you guys can go check that out after you're done watching this video. So this track is Atlanta, and this track made a great main event. It's just one of those tracks where it wasn't one line. There was multiple lines that you could take to try to take time or try to be more consistent. So towards the end, you definitely had to adapt because this track did get pretty gnarly and choppy towards the end of this main event. So here we are at the start, really long straightaway, so I had to get a good jump. It's shipped down to first gear on me on that gate right there, so that kind of sucked, but luckily we're still able to get into the top 3 off this whole shot here. So Nazar and I are 1 and 2, and I felt like it was really crucial to try to make an early pass on this first lap. Nazar kind of went long on there, trying to get that 4 or 5 in case a little bit, which allowed me to make the pass in the corner and protect that inside. Now I have the lead, and Nazar is right there behind me, so I know he's going to try really hard and push to make the pass back. He got a way better drive through the whoops right there and tried to make the pass, not inside, but bumped me, and I was able to hold him off. So coming to lap 2, just want to try to put a heater on and try to put some distance between me and the pack. So I knew breaking away was going to be pretty tough, especially in these first opening laps, especially with Nezra right there in second place. I knew coming into this round that he definitely had the edge on me just a little bit with running some faster lap times. We were both in the 46s in qualifying, but he was running those faster times way more consistently than I was in the practices and the heats. So I knew coming into this main event just had to be consistent and just run my laps and try not to make any huge mistakes, because this track is one of those tracks that if you try to go for those huge lines or push way too hard, you're just going to start making mistakes. So coming to lap 3, got about 5-second gap on the straightaway, so we're making a little breathing room, so just gotta try to keep it up and keep the ball rolling. So we're coming into lap 6, and at this point in the main event, it was a pressure cooker. Nazar was keeping me on my toes. I mean, the split did not leave like 2 or 3 seconds for a very long time, it felt like. So, I mean, we were pretty much just super focused at this point. I know I didn't know my lap time until the very end of the main event. I wasn't even looking at my split, because that's how focused we were. It's one of those tracks where you had to be, because a section like this one right here on these tabletops, you clip your front wheel on the whoop wrong or smash into the face of that tabletop, you're done. Or this whoop section that we're coming up on. If you didn't have a good entry into the whoops and you got a bad bounce, you're done. So definitely had to be on your toes and just super laser focused on what you were doing on this track, especially on how well Nezra was riding. So man, we were sweating out trying to ride my ride, but it was hard. It was definitely hard. And now we're coming up on some lappers too, which kind of made me nervous. A good thing about this track that there was a lot of alternative lines that you can take to try to avoid them. Not everybody was hitting the same rhythm sections and lines that everyone else was doing, so that kind of made it easy. This kind of made it look like I tried to take Zadok out right here, but I didn't mean to. Just trying to get through these guys as quick as I can, and because I don't want to take him out, I don't, but you know, if I had to give him a little nudge to get out of there quick, especially how close Nezra is, I'm going to. So, coming into the 8th lap, and we're still only 3 seconds out. So, coming into some lappers, it's going to get a little hairy. So we are at lap 10, about the halfway point through this main event. Got about 6 to 8 second gap between me and Nez right now, but he ran into some trouble. But right here, we made a pretty big mistake, had to check up for the whoop section, and got a weird front end bounce that made me crash. So now, Nezra was able to close the gap back up to 1 to 2 seconds again, so the pressure is still very much on. Just had to try to move on and forget about that mistake, not let it bother me, and just put my head down and run some pretty clean laps and try to build that split up again, which was a very tall order to do. But we got some clean air. There's not going to be lappers for at least a little bit. There's a big group right there in that next rim section, but we probably won't touch them here in a lap or so. So we're on lap 13, coming up on some lappers, and lap 13 was probably one of my worst laps in this race. Had a pretty good gap with 8 seconds at the beginning of this lap, and then it turned down to like 2 or 3 again. Had to switch up my lines a lot for lappers. Manson over here was on the heater, trying to catch the guys in front of him, and almost put me in the tough blocks and unlapped himself, so that made me pretty nervous. It didn't happen on his screen, but luckily he made a little mistake there and was able to get out of that clean. And now we got some clean air. With on the 14th lap, 6 laps ago, Nezra is starting to make a push with only 2 or 3 second gap right now. So definitely had to keep my cool and keep it focused and try to keep the wheels on the rubber side down. So here we are, lap 19, about a lap and a half to go. Got about 12-second gap on second place. I just stayed out of trouble, kept my laps consistent, and really towards lap 14 or 15, the track started to get really beat and choppy. Random kickers on triples were starting to develop. You had to be a lot more easy on the throttle in the corners or else you were going to break traction. So you definitely had to be a lot more patient and adapt your lines towards the end of this main event, which I felt like really helped me towards the end, especially with the lappers. With the lappers, you had to switch up your lines a lot, which this track allowed to. There's a lot of different lines that you can take, a lot of insides that you can take to try to get around people, so I didn't really have too much trouble with the lappers on this one. But we're on the last lap here, just gotta try to keep it on 2 wheels here and bring it home, but we got 17 seconds to play around with. I'm just gonna let Chrome there go. Don't really need to bounce around with them too much. But yeah, this was an insane race. I don't think I've put that much focus in the main event in a long time. Nezra has been riding very well. So, you had to be on your A game for this track for sure. But here we are, crossing the finish line, knack for the fans. And man, this was a very close race. It was a 2-3 second gap pretty much the whole time until the end. But just want to give a huge shout out to Hit with the Rico, Tommy, TinMan son for bringing the tournaments back together and putting it back on track. You guys did a really good job. But until next time, I thank you guys for watching and see you guys in the next video. Peace.